Radio Raheem here with Tom Loeffler, K2 Promotions. Hey, you're quite a busy man right now. You're always into something, but right now, in the next month, you've got two huge fights on the horizon. We'll start with the one that we're here for, Roman Gonzalez. A lot of people's pound-for-pound best. Now he's in competition for that title with Lomachenko and Ward, trying to reclaim his own belt. What's it like putting a fight together, a rematch like this, for a fighter who's so well revered, but has never tasted defeat in this way and needs to reclaim his title and his position in the boxing world?
Well, Roman was very eager to get back in the ring. He wanted to show, it was a controversial decision. The last fight, it was a tremendous war between the two guys, between Rungvisai and Chocolatito. But he wants to show that he's still a champion. He wants to get his title back. So there were no obstacles putting that fight together. Rungvisai, you got to give him a lot of credit. The WBC ordered the immediate rematch, but I've seen fighters trying to get out of ordered rematches, and he wants to come back over to the United States. He wants to defend the title and really prove that he is a true world champion. So that's a great matchup. But whenever you can add that or to that, the HBO debut of Inoue, the U.S. debut against Antonio Nieves, and then you got the great Mexican war between Juan Estrada versus El Principe Cuadras. It's going to be a tremendous night at StubHub Center. Brian Valoria, we just added him onto the show. We have lots of we have great priced tickets. They started at $30. The $30 tickets are almost sold out. There's only about 20 left, so the people have to buy their tickets quickly, because this is selling at the same pace that Triple G Rubio sold at StubHub, and that one sold out. We actually had to add seats, and this one is going to be full capacity.
We're used to seeing Chocolatito and Triple G on the same card. You've done about as good as you can by putting a week apart, literally 7 days. You picked an excellent venue for wars. I mean, this is the kind of card that belongs at StubHub. But it does beg the question, with such a huge card just a week later, pay-per-view, it feels like Chocolatito's earned that kind of spot. Why isn't he on that card?
Well, he's headlining his own show. Whenever you can headline your own show, that takes precedence over, being on the undercard of even a bigger show. But actually, Triple G, this is one thing I didn't mention at the press conference. Triple G's going to be at the fight September 9th. So he'll be on the HBO telecast. He'll be saying hi to his fans at the StubHub Center. And so even though they're not fighting on the same night, they're 1 week apart, and Triple G will come out and to watch the great fights at the StubHub Center.
Now, assuming that Chocolatito reclaims his title, it'll be 1-1. If this isn't, some kind of first-round knockout or brutalizing beat-up, which no one really expects, pretty even matchup, are we looking at a rubber match? Is that something that's already in the cards? Is that negotiated at all? Well,
the WC has mandated that the winner of Estrada and Cuadras will fight the winner of Chocolatito and Rungvisai. So that's really the natural progression. I mean, if it's another tremendous war, and if there's any controversy, maybe the WBC will order a third fight. I'm sure the fans would love to. This is the type of matchup that, with those styles, non-stop action, that people would want to see a third fight. But the way it's shaping up now is that the winner of those two fights will fight each other.
I've been in the house for every Triple G fight, and everyone obviously with Chocolatito on the card, and it's a toss-up who's got the most fans there. Like, Chocolatito definitely has his own following, and with that said, now he's headlining his own card. Where does Rigondeaux figure into this equation, being that, a fighter like him, if he wants to be a star and be a draw, even though the Cuadras fight is great, maybe the Rigo fight has a little bit more attention, and you're fighting a guy that's better known. Are these things considerations, and is that Rigo fight possible at a catchweight?
We haven't even pondered a catchweight yet. I mean, we're just working on this one here, where if Chocolatito wins and then fights the winner of Cuadras Estrada, and then I keep hearing Rigo's challenging Lomachenko, moving up in weight to like 130 or something like that. So he wasn't even on the radar screen for a 115-pound fighter. But you got to give him a lot of credit. He's a very skilled fighter, and Lomachenko's very skilled. And everyone on September 9th, all the super flyweights are supremely skilled. So, there's a lot of great talent in the lower divisions.
Yeah, he seems like Rigo seems to be calling everybody out, trying to get a fight anywhere. But you know what that's like. You got Triple G.
We were calling out a lot of people. Yeah, he finally got the big fight. Finally got the big Canelo fight. Yeah.
And this seems to be rematch day. So the big rematch that a lot of people are waiting on, especially on the other side of the pond. Apparently, we're going to get Joshua Klitschko. That's the talk. So can you give us any update? When are we going to see this fight? Any details have developed over these past few weeks?
Well, I'll tell you, I would love to see the rematch of that fight. Wladimir hasn't officially decided yet if he's going to actually do the rematch. I know Eddie Hearn was up in Las Vegas meeting with them. You know, he asked me some of the questions, how the things are structured for the Canelo Triple G fight. You know, if we could do that rematch here in the United States, the two best heavyweights fighting each other in a rematch would be tremendous. I would love to see that. I'd love to see that fight. I know a lot of fans would want to see that fight again. You know, until Wladimir officially makes up his mind, you know, it's just you know, wishful thinking for now. But hopefully, you know, from my perspective, I would support him 100%. I think he boxed probably the best he's fought in a long time, and I really think he would win the rematch. So I'd love to see that fight.
You know, I would be questioning whether I wanted to get in the ring with Joshua again, but you know,
not my decision to get in there with Anthony Joshua, but I'd love to see the rematch.
But for Klitschko's sake, right after the fight, he seemed to want. Then he wanted the rematch, and he felt like he was very close to having won the fight. He knocked Joshua down. Obviously, we know all that. So now that this time has taken place, and obviously you know the guy, you're close to the guy, what is he pondering? What is the decision that he needs to make, and what has his spirits been like since the fight?
Like you said, you know, you and I aren't the ones getting hit in the face by Anthony Joshua. You know, look, Vladimir's had a tremendous career, the second longest reign in the heavyweight division after the great Joe Louis. So he's accomplished everything he could ever hope to accomplish in the sport. He's earned, you know, he doesn't need the rematch financially. It's just a matter of if he wants to get back in the ring and really show that if he's the best. And you know, it's one of those things that I've talked to him a few times, and he seems to be going back and forth. But again, you know, he'll be the one making the decision. Whatever he decides, you know, we'll support him 100%. As I said, I'd love to see the rematch, but I'm not the one getting punched in the face. So, you know, we'll see what he decides and see if we can put that together.
Well, you're taking Triple G to Vegas. We've seen some questionable, at least controversial decisions here recently, and always in boxing. I'm curious if you're at all concerned about if Canelo Triple G goes the distance. Are you confident in the judges and that you'll get a fair shake?
Well, whenever it goes to decision, you never quite know what's going to happen. I really think. I think Triple G is more motivated for this fight than I've ever seen him, you know, the last couple of years. So I think he's really going to put on a tremendous performance. Canelo looked spectacular against Chavez. I mean, a lot of people were criticizing Chavez's performance, but, you know, when Canelo puts on that type of performance with the combinations, with the hand speed, physically, how strong he was in the ring, you know, you got to give him credit for shutting out 12 rounds from Chavez Jr. So he's 100% motivated, and they realize this is the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Whoever wins this, you know, is on top of the sport. So I think you'll see, you know, whoever thinks Triple G was exposed or sliding off the last two fights, you'll see his best performance on September 16th.
Well, that'll be his best performance on September 16th, but will he have to do it again in May? I mean, Oscar's pretty much told me that there's a rematch clause of some sort. We know that Triple G is at the top of his game, but it's a young man's sport. What is Triple G looking to do to complete his career? We know he wants to unify the middleweight titles. Is that what's most important? And does he have to beat Canelo twice before he can even look to grab that last belt?
Look, whenever you have an opportunity to be involved in an event like this, it's considered the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. I think he would fight Canelo 2, 3, 4 times. You know, it just seems like their styles are going to mesh. You never can quite predict how the styles are going to match up, but Canelo comes forward, Triple G doesn't go backwards. I think it's going to be like two planets heading towards each other, and it's going to be an all-out war.
So you say 2, 3, 4. Time will start running out. Just do you think it's most important for Triple G to retire like the unified middleweight title, what he's been talking about for years, having all the belts, or having the most money?
Oh, he's wanted all the titles since he first won the WBA title. He wanted to fight all the other champions because the only way he can prove that he's the best is to beat the other champions. If an opportunity comes up to unify with the WBO champion, you know, Saunders is going to fight. It sounds like he's going to fight Willie Monroe on the same day over in the UK. We've been trying to get that fight if there's a way to make it. If Triple G beats Canelo. We would certainly try to do that, or you know, if it goes the direction of a rematch, we would do that. I think if he wins September 16th, the options are open for him.
We're talking about big money, a guy that you're definitely trying to bring up through the ranks and confident in, Alexander Usyk, is fighting for the big prize, right? So just talk to me about how he got involved in the competition, and what's it worth to you to have him involved?
Oh, it's a great tournament that they put together, and having Usyk in there really validates you know, all the champions being involved in the tournament. That's the opportunity. Whoever wins that tournament, there's so many great fighters. There's Usyk, Marat Gassiev. He trains with Triple G. He's a close friend of ours. Briedis, Mike Perez. We work with Mike Perez is in the tournament. You know, so many great fighters. Kudryashov is in the tournament. And whoever Dorticos is in the tournament.
Do you know how they selected people for the tournament?
I really think they looked at the top guys, that were willing to go in the tournament. And when you have all 4 champions competing in the tournment, you know, that's something that whoever wins that tournament. It took us so long to try to unify all the titles with Triple G. He's got the top ones. He's missing one, but whoever wins that tournament is going to have the undisputed cruiserweight championship. So that's a big bonus for people in that tournament.
Well, a tournament like that, the Super 6 got Andre Ward quite a bit of popularity and publicity, winning it. But this is kind of like retirement money. What if he wins this thing? I mean, Richard Schaefer puts that check in his pocket and he's out of there. Have you thought about that?
Look, Usyk is young and he still has a lot to prove. And you know, he broke the record of Evander Holyfield winning the world championship in only 10 fights. He won the Olympic gold medal. If he can win this tournament, he's well on his way of being one of the best fighters ever to compete in the sport. And you know, he's a big guy. He keeps growing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to win this tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a transition to heavyweight.
Yeah, he may even become a co-promoter with you. You know, that kind of paper. Radio Raheem with Tom Loeffler of K2 Promotions. Big things on the stage coming. So much a pleasure to talk to you always, man. Can't wait to see these fights. Radio Raheem with Tom Loeffler.